another episode of Simply Medicare with Debbie Stroup. I'm your host, your Michigan Medicare specialist, and I'm really excited today because we have guests that have actually done work with Michigan Medicare specialists. And so I'd like for them to kind of give you an idea of what they went through, because everybody's a little bit nervous about trusting someone. Are they going to have my best interest at heart? They've got my social security number and my Medicare number. And, I can't be too cautious today. And what if I don't get in the right plan? So we're going to kind of talk about all of that to maybe help you to understand that you're not alone feeling nervous and anxious about not only trusting someone, but coming into Medicare or aging in. So I'd like to welcome our two guests today. If you both can introduce yourself and maybe tell us a little bit about who you are.
Sure. My name is Mark, and this is Renee. We've been married for 44 years this May. And several years ago, we had this harebrained idea that we were going to sell our house and buy a motorhome and live in it while we travel around the country. And so as retirement age started to arrive, I got a little anxious and went on to the Social Security website to see kind of ahead of time, what kind of things do I need? What kind of homework do I have to do? The Social Security website makes it look like this is very easy and it's simple and anyone can do it. And okay, so I printed a whole bunch of the helper information booklets that they have online. And I guess I kind of got a grasp of what it was about and what I needed to do. But when it got down to it, when I turned 65 and it was time for me to sign up, I signed up for all the wrong things. I got kind of stuck. Huh?
What do you mean by that? You signed up for all the wrong things?
Well, you get bombarded starting at about age 63. You start getting bombarded about sign up for this Medicare, sign up for that Medicare. I didn't even understand that you go to the Social Security website to sign up for Medicare.
I know. Okay. Backward. I mean, I want to sign up for Medicare. I should go to Medicare. No.
Right. Mm-hmm. And Medicare sends you to Social Security. So meanwhile, like I said, from when you start about age 62, 63, 64, you start getting bombarded by AARP and somebody's Advantage plan, somebody else's Advantage plan, and people start talking about the plan that they have. It's exhausting. So I thought, well, I'm just going to go to Social Security and I'm going to sign up for it. And there's a whole interviewing process, a whole page where Social Security Administration interviews you to help you through the process of signing up and getting familiar with and getting to understand the system. Well, in a lot of places, in the book I got from the Social Security Administration, the Medicare book I got, all the online information, it says repeatedly, if you don't sign up for Plan B when you're eligible, you could be subject to a penalty that will be there the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. Well, I was a nervous wreck about this. So at 65, I got a letter saying you have Medicare Part A. You should probably sign up for Part B now. Go to the Social Security Administration website, ssa.gov. So okay, fine. I go to ssa.gov and I signed up for it. And in my interview online, I said, okay, I want B because I didn't want a penalty. Because that's all you hear about is there's going to be a penalty if you don't sign. Well, it turns out, and this is what I learned from talking to Debbie, that I didn't need to sign up for it because I already had health insurance because I was still working. What
Mhm.
they're actually mean to say at socialsecurity.gov is if you don't sign up for it when you are first eligible and need to sign up for it, then you could be subject to a penalty. So in
So,
other words, if I had retired and then signed up for it 3 months after my birth, or 4 months or 5 months after my birthday, now we might have an issue.
correct.
So I was signed up for Part A and Part B on November 1st of 2021
Yep.
when I turned 65, and I got a bill in the mail for Part B that was going to start that January. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. I don't want to sign up for it now. I don't need this right now. I told them in the interview online that I currently am working and had insurance,
Mhm.
but still they signed me up for Plan B and sent me a bill. Well, I didn't need it. I didn't want it. I had insurance at work. So I had to go through this whole rigmarole of unenrolling, which is a term all its own. It's not like canceling your application. It's actually sending a letter to the SSA.gov that says, I made a mistake. I didn't mean to sign up. Please unenroll me. And it took a while, and I was a nervous wreck because I had this bill looming on my shoulders here that I had to pay the government.
Right.
So anyway, then as my real retirement age started to arrive, which is 66 years, 4 months, that'll be February 1st of this year. I will be 66 years, 4 months. That's when I'm actually eligible to begin Social Security benefits. And I wanted my Medicare to start because I can cancel my Medicare at work. So that way the whole thing flows together.
Mhm.
And again, I didn't know, who am I supposed to talk to? Who am I supposed to get the proper information about what kind of Medicare I want? Do I just want Plan A and B? Because it seems like I don't have any drug coverage then. So I talked to a coworker of mine that was retiring 2 months before me. He said, oh, I talked to this guy and he walked me through the whole thing. And I think it was less than $600 it cost me to get a consultation from this guy. And I said, oh, well, okay, that sounds pretty good. So on one particular day, I'm watching the Today Show, and the Today Show says, we're going to have you talk to someone from Michigan Medicare special. I'm sorry, it wasn't the Today Show. It was
Live in the D, I think it was.
yes, live in the D, right?
Yes, live in the D.
Right, with Tatiana and
Today.
yeah. It was live in the D.
Mhm.
Well, they said that they were going to talk to someone from Michigan Medicare specialists, and Debbie Stroup is going to help you understand what you need to know and this whole intro. And it sounded really intriguing. And then here's Debbie on the TV talking to the people, and the loudest, boldest statement comes out of her mouth that says, we don't charge you for this. It's a free service. Because I don't represent any particular insurance company. I represent Michigan Medicare. They're the ones that pay me and have hired me to help people get into the system correctly without spending a fortune on crazy insurance advantage plans that you really don't need.
Yep.
And so I wrote down her number. I misspelled it terribly, but I didn't care because I was going to find her. You don't want to know how I spelled your name, Debbie.
Okay. It's okay. I've gotten a lot. But I mean, I think you have really touched upon just one segment of the Medicare population, because but yet so many facets you talked about. You talked about, I don't need it at age 65, but yet everybody's yapping in my ear that I need it. And it's saying that I need it, but I guess I didn't need it. I'm so confused. Or you also talked a little bit about how everybody's telling you what to do. Don't pick this plan, pick this plan. That's a good plan. That's a bad plan. The solicitors are calling you, and the junk mail's piling up, and it becomes overwhelming.
Oh,
What did you
absolutely.
decide? Was it that clip on TV to say, enough, I don't want to deal with all of that. I want to deal
Right.
with, okay, so that's what it was. So, but there are a lot of people out there that listen to what other people say. What would you say to folks that are at that point right now to figure out what plan to pick? I mean, what if their doctor tells them a certain plan, or what if their neighbor tells them about a specific plan? What if the solicitor calls them and promises them the world? What would you suggest to those folks?
I would suggest that they call you. They need to call Michigan Medicare specialists. I don't have the number off the top of my head. I wasn't ready for it. But when you call Michigan Medicare specialists, you get to talk to Tracy. And Tracy is the intaker. Is that what it is? she takes people into the program.
She's the queen of everything.
She answered half a dozen of the 100 or so questions that I had about Medicare. Took my information, my name, address, phone number, all that kind of stuff, contact information, when I was available, what I was looking for. She wanted a little backstory. So Debbie, so you don't walk into a meeting with myself and my wife cold turkey, blank slate. You have no idea what's going on. You found out that we bought our motorhome and we're thinking about moving to another state, and how is that going to fit in? And what kind of insurance should I get that's best going to meet my needs, because I don't have a lot of health issues. But I would say when somebody approaches you, like I had a guy in the pouring rain in the fall come and knock on my door and ask me if I was Mark Taylor, and told me my social security number. And I said, really? I said, who are you? And he says, well, I'm from Michigan Alliance Medicare Insurance Company. And I said, you need to get off my porch, man. I don't know where you got this information from, but you are not permitted to use my social security number.
Yeah, of course not.
And now, had I known at the time about Debbie and Michigan Medicare specialists, I would have contacted her immediately and said, what is going on here? Is this the kind of plan I want? And it becomes a much less frightening, much less overwhelming situation when you talk with Tracy and you talk with Debbie, because they interview you, they ask you questions about your lifestyle, about your health, about who's your doctor, what kind of medicines you take. And then based on that kind of information, they search all of the available plans, not just the ones that they represent, because they're licensed through HAP, or they're licensed through this, or licensed through that. Picking out of all the insurance plans, what is the best one that they think suits me? Now that's not a commitment. I didn't have to sign up for the Advantage plan that Debbie recommended, but I looked it up and realized that, yeah, this looks pretty good. She's right, I think. And I spoke with my doctor about it, and my wife spoke with her doctor, and they agreed that this is a good plan, and they're on board. They're in the network.
That's really encouraging to hear that you felt that way. And I know Renee's situation is just a little bit different. So Renee, can you tell us just real quickly a little bit about your situation? Are you in Medicare yet?
No, I'm not. Not until August of this year.
Okay.
So I have to, his insurance canceled me in January. So I had to hurry up and find insurance. We had no idea they were going to cancel his insurance completely. in
Oh,
January. Because he wasn't planning on starting till February or March.
right.
So, yeah, I went through several different insurance companies trying to find an insurance that would work with me. Ended up going with my company that I'm with right now, that I didn't want to do because I don't plan on staying there that long. I'm going to be retiring. I'm going to retire in August.
Right.
So,
So then, that Medicare will kick in for you then.
right.
I just thought you guys would be a really unique couple to talk about because you're both, you're married, but you have unique situations and you're going to travel. So let me ask you, are you concerned at all about taking your Medicare insurance with you on the road? I mean, what if I twist my ankle in Arizona or I break my elbow in New York City? Do you feel like you're in a plan that will work with you and get you through emergency care or urgent care?
As far as we know, yeah. Yeah, I'm very comfortable with it. I did speak to my doctor, like I said, and he said, if you guys are in another state somewhere and you're traveling and you feel sick and you need to talk to the doctor, you don't have to come all the way back to Michigan. Let's
Right.
do telemed. And so we've done that a couple of times during COVID. Like a lot of people, I'm sure. You call your doctor, you set up an appointment, it's $20 copay. You see the doctor on the phone. The doctor says, gives you diagnosis and writes a prescription for you or lets you know what you need to do.
Right.
So I'm pretty comfortable with that. I think we'll be fine.
I think so. Right. I think a lot of folks are doing telemed. They got kind of used to that during COVID. And now moving forward that the travel restrictions have been eliminated or at least reduced, they want to travel. And so they're concerned if they can take that Medicare plan with them. So I'm glad you brought that up because I think a lot of doctors are moving towards having telehealth for them because one, they can see more people. So really it benefits them, right?
Sure.
But it also benefits you because it's less costly and you can just do it anywhere that you're traveling. So what as far as some of the elements that were important to you other than like your doctors being in plan or your prescriptions being in plan, was there anything else that seemed to be really important to you as far as looking for a Medicare plan?
Yeah, I didn't want to pay like a lot of money in premiums. I mean, the Medicare itself is you pay for it every 3 months.
Yeah.
And they don't tell you that when you sign up for it either. They don't say a word about it.
Yep.
They tell you it's $164.60 a month. But nowhere do they caveat and say, oh, but you pay that every 3 months. So
Yeah.
save your pennies.
Yep. Yep.
So that's a $495 suck right out of my Social Security check. You don't even get to see it,
Nope.
So
Nope.
that kind of bothered me a little bit. So on top of that, I didn't want to pay a lot of extra to get a drug coverage benefit, to get vision, to get dental. And you found us a plan that is a $0 premium because they get paid off of the copays that I make.
Right.
So that I liked a lot. The fact that a lot of the drugs that I take are generic drugs, and so does Renee. We don't take a lot of medications, but the few that we take, they do come in a generic version. And with this plan that you found that suits us, there's no payment for that at all. The medications are $0.
Right.
Which is another point that I needed to bring up. I had a conversation with my pharmacist that we've been seeing this pharmacist for about 10 years. We've had 3 or 4 different insurances through the course of the years that we've seen this pharmacist at CVS. And I asked her, I said, how does CVS work if I'm like traveling and I'm out in New Mexico or Arizona and I need a prescription refill, what happens? And she says, well, CVS is kind of all over the country. So you just need to let them know that, hey, I have a prescription at CVS in Westland, Michigan. Can you fill it for me? And she said, absolutely. That's one of the beautiful things about working with CVS as a pharmacy is that it's nationwide.
Yep.
So
And I think,
unless it's a narcotic based medicine, which I have to get a permission for.
yes.
But just my normal everyday generic drugs is just fine. I can get them filled in any state, anywhere.
Yeah,
So
and I think
that's really nice.
there's a lot of those national pharmacies that are really helpful to folks.
Mhm.
You
Right.
mentioned one, but there are lots of other ones that we all know about. So before we close, tell us what your plans are for the next year. What are some states that you plan to visit?
Do you want to go? You're the route planner.
Well, we're gonna do the national parks tour. So we're gonna head towards the Yellowstone and Grand Canyon and Yosemite and all of Utah. I want to see everything in Utah.
See.
There's what do they call that? What do they call that loop over there in Utah
Yeah,
and Arizona? It's called the Grand Tour.
the Grand Tour.
There's a route that RVers share on Facebook all over the place. So just join an RV group on Facebook and ask somebody about the Grand Tour.
Is there any final words of wisdom that you'd like to share with folks that are thinking about Medicare or turning 65, or maybe have been, in a plan that they're not happy with, or they've been disillusioned with? Do you have any final words of wisdom?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have 3 words. Michigan Medicare Specialist. Okay. I'm serious. Yes, you invited us onto this podcast to talk about ourselves and our experience. But seriously, if I were to do it all again, knowing what I know now and knowing you and Tracy, that's the first call. I 65 and I've been bombarded with all these Medicare Advantage plan people. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. Debbie, let's have a conference. Can we get together and do a Zoom meeting or do a conference call? My wife and I have some questions.
Yeah.
And knowing you're gonna snap right up and say, sure, how about this Friday? We'll do it after dinner. We can have wine together and we'll talk about Medicare and just put your mind at ease. Your knowledge is just like world class. And I really wish I had called you back when I turned 65 because I wouldn't have had to unenroll from Plan B.
Thank you so much for giving up your evening to hop on this Zoom call with us and share your experiences. It's been lovely. And if it can help one person, then I feel
hope so.
I've done my job. And that's another edition of Simply Medicare with Debbie Stroup. Looking forward to chatting with you soon. If you've enjoyed this edition of Simply Medicare podcast and you don't want to miss any future episodes, please make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Please also leave comments and offer feedback so we can make this podcast the best it can be for you. If you need assistance with your Medicare sign-up or you just have general Medicare questions, make sure to reach out to me at 248-227-0347. You can also reach me online at michiganmedicarespecialist.com or through my email at debbie@michiganmedicarespecialist.com. I really look forward to working with you soon.